gets there. Welcome back to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your co-host, Regina Partain Bergman. My co-host, Pearl Cox, is unable to be with us at this time, and so we have the pleasure of having an amazing guest co-host today. I am so thrilled to bring this guest host to you because we had such a great time when we got together the last time and talked, and it was just fabulous. I loved it, and I'm so excited to have her here today. I'd like you to meet Karen Mendoza. Karen, I'm going to let you share all about what you do and who you serve, why you do that, okay?
Okay. First of all, Regina, thank you for having us on your show. I'm looking forward to the conversation today. I'm Karen Mendoza. I'm from D-Box Technologies. D-Box is the leader in haptics and immersive, high fidelity immersive technology. You can experience D-Box in your local movie theaters where they have D-Box motion activated seats for when you watch the latest action adventure movie. The next one coming up is Wakanda Forever, so please see that in D-Box. I am the head of sales and business development for D-Box. I am joined today with Regina. I've invited two influential women who I met through my career in esports, in motorsports and racing, at D-Box and before D-Box. And I'd like to introduce them now. The first is Stefy from the CEO and founder of Init Esports, and also Jackie Heinricher, the founder of Heinricher Racing, and also former founder of a great bamboo technology company. Both of these ladies that I met have such an incredible wealth of knowledge and experience in such technology and sports industries that I think for all the viewers watching and audiences listening, their personal journeys is just tremendous and incredible. I'll give some airtime now to Stefy to talk a little bit about Init Esports and also her journey in this space and what she's up to today.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Regina. Hi, Jackie. And hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Stefy and yes, I am Italian. So I was born in Italy, and with a little dream of becoming the fastest motorcycle racer I could be.
Wow.
And when I was growing up in Italy, being a little girl, in a male-dominated industry, like even my parents were like, "This is crazy, but we're gonna go for it," because that's what you like to do. So I ended up having a very good career. I competed with the men, in the world championship. I'm the first woman in the history of the sport to do that. And then along the line, I was able to bring home 3 world titles. So when at 6 years old, I look at my parents say, "Hey, I'm going to become a champion." I was for real, So yeah, so that's my racing career. And then to what I do now as Init Sport, this is about a couple years ago. I was in Italy visiting my family, and I saw my little niece that she was spending 3 to 4 hours a day watching people playing video games. So me coming from sport, I'm like, what is going on? People are now watching people playing video games, not just playing them, but watching them. So as a person that was able, to crack that glass ceiling a few times throughout my career, I'm like, hey, maybe there is an opportunity here to try to continue to do the same, but use the digital world to bring more women and minority into the motorsport world as a whole. So Init Sport focuses on sim racing. Sim racing is a digital racing, and with the particular attention for women and minorities.
Awesome.
Wow.
Incredible, right, Regina?
Yes,
This is the first time you're hearing your
definitely. I'm
background,
just
but
like mind
yes.
blown.
And now let's give some airtime to Jackie and have her share her story.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's good to be here and see all of you. I have a deep background as a biotech founder, and I've worked with sustainable fiber since I was quite young. I had the vision for my company when I was 12 years old, and went on to sign one of the biggest pulp paper deals in our time. And I also, by way of just being a knucklehead, love sports. And so I've done a lot of different sports, but racing was one of my passions, and I've indeed raced many different cars. But I switched hats and became a race team owner, and fielded the first team of professional women from 4 different countries to challenge one of the top sports car series in its history. And then went on to myself win a podium as a team owner for the first time in the series history. So my whole effort, as I see it in my life, has been to keep pushing the boundaries, if you will, to do things that are not only important, but they're important for women.
That's wonderful. This is why I brought these 2 amazing, influential leaders to this show. And I want to kind of jump back, because both of you said something very, very interesting to me. In that, Stefy, at 6 years old, you knew what you wanted to do, and you told your parents. Jackie, at 12 years old, you were very determined and focused on, so at a very young age. And then I'll just share my story. At 6 years old, I came to the U.S. I immigrated from a developing country, my home country of the Philippines. We got here to the US, and I saw all sorts of access to technology and brands, and just new forms of entertainment that I never saw before. And so my question for each of you, I'll start with Stefy first, like, because this is all about collaboration, that's the topic of the show today. When you were younger, in your younger self, how did you collaborate with people to see your dreams and your to see your dreams come true, basically?
Right. So, even though motorcycle racing and car racing, a lot of people think there is a one-person sport, it's not, because you have to have a team around. So collaboration becomes in that level, right? So for me, growing up, like my core team were my parents when I was little, right? So they supported me. Together, we will figure it out. We were the best opportunity to go racing and be better. Then when you grow older, even though you are maybe perhaps in the spotlight, you go into a professional team, and all of these people around you, they work with you to be able to make a team working and therefore bring results. So when you hear the word there is no I in team, it's because of that. Because even though, like you might be the spotlight, and have the spotlight, there is a lot of people around you. And what is important is to create an environment that it's very safe and it's very welcoming, and everybody has the same passion. In racing, it doesn't come that difficult. Like everybody that is in racing, they have to have a passion. Otherwise, they will not do and sacrifice all the hours that you need to put in to win competition. But in business, it might be a little bit different, but it's at the end, it's still the same concept. You have to have a good team around you and work together for the common goal.
That's awesome. Jackie,
Beautiful.
same question to you. In your both biotech career and then now into your racing career.
Well, yeah, I mean, so many things come to my mind. I mean, my parents, I wanted chemistry sets when I was a little girl. So
Me too.
Luckily, my parents obliged. I think, so much of our foundation is laid by how accepting our parents are, and not, creating this north of 6 paradigm where we start feeling less than our male counterparts at that age. having parents that allowed me to explore fields that weren't traditionally, female oriented was really an important thing. But yeah, certainly, as Stefy mentioned, there's a whole team dynamic, both in a company and in racing, and they're important. I think more about partnership. And because there are only, of the Fortune 500 companies, 5.8% are women leaders. And the reason I bring this up is because ultimately our success will be driven by corporate acknowledgement. And that kind of collaboration is really, I think, where a lot of women, and myself included, spend a lot of our time trying to be the flea in the circus, in the sense that we want this to happen and we see people being very positive about our stories. But I'm really driven to sort of figure out this better collaboration from a bigger perspective and from a corporate perspective. And maybe that's because I have a lot of experience as a CEO and a founder, because ultimately I believe that the real change is going to be driven from the top down in terms of leadership. And I say that with an eye on sports. As we see women getting promoted to these bigger positions, you can start to see that little crack in the door. And we don't have, for instance, if you look at the top tier of motor racing, there's no woman driving a team. And that is why I think fundamentally we have to do this, because we have to collaborate in a way that brings diversity and inclusion to the grittiest lane on earth, which is pit lane, but we can't do it without support. And I think, I guess what I'm doing is sort of flipping this question around, because at the end of the day, the biggest collaborations come when people aren't afraid to support non-traditional leaders in a very entrenched sport, for instance. And I think those are the things that really have my business interest. Yeah. That's what piques my mind.
Oh, it piques my mind as well. And I know Stefy and I have had conversations about this. It's a very, very important topic you're raising, Jackie, and that, yes, it's important to know where we've come from and how we've been supported through our years. But now I think it is fundamental as a society for us to kind of ask ourselves and reflect on, like, how are we helping in this effort, right? And I've invited both of you, as Stefy and Jackie, because I know that this is a topic near and dear to our hearts and minds. And in this non-traditional industries, I'll take technology, Stefy, and esports, video games, even in my own technology, entertainment, medium, and then Jackie, for you, technology and sports. It's not that easy to move about and swerve as a non-traditional face, non-traditional leader in what we're trying to navigate around. And I know in our world, sponsorships, partnerships, corporate corporate collaborations are so important. One very relevant topic, and Regina, you may not know, but I'll try to enlighten you and your audience today. In the world of Formula One, there was a W Series that was established a couple of years ago, and it has been operating for a few years, but recently the news has it made headline news just a couple weeks ago that due to lack of funding for the W Series, they decided to end the racing season early. Now, there were professional drivers, racing teams, a whole whole team of women drivers and women enthusiasts that W Series enthusiasts that were completely disappointed. I want to ask Jackie, with this recent news, I mean, maybe to some of us, it's a little bit of the not so surprising, but still disappointing, because the world of F1, lots of money flowing through, lots of money. And so to hear that they could not quite get the funding they needed seems like a similar story to a lot of the women-led initiatives in this industry. What do you think is the future of like the W Series and women divisions in sports and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, this is a semi-loaded question because when the W Series first came out, I was running a team, and the drivers on my team were adamant against this because it separated the men from the women. As you know, the car, the motorcycle, it does not know if it's a man or a woman. And frankly, if you think about it, is it really competition if it's all men? If there are no women, if half that field is not women, then you're not really competing against the best in the world. You can look at Formula One, and you can look at the dinner table, and you can look at the honors, and it's not a surprise to me at all. It's really sad, but I get emails every day of drivers who are famous, who you see in the news, who are women who have no funding. Again, I have always felt that if you can have somebody who's a team owner at a major league level that can start to really drive down the funding and be a voice and be somebody who can make a difference, then it can have an impact. The problem is that the funding for women is virtually it's nearly impossible to achieve. And I will say this. I will say that I could write a thick book just simply titled "No," and I hate that, right? And the other thing I would say about this is, my dance through corporate America is interesting because I obviously, as a founder and a CEO, have connections and I can talk to CEOs. But what I hear time and again, and I hope I'm not drifting off this question too far, but I think it really speaks to the root issues here. And that is that, male CEOs who can make a decision tell me all the time that they have daughters and it's fundamentally changed their thoughts around, girls and what they can do. And it's incredible to them. And likewise, what I'm doing is incredibly inspirational, but we will not fund you. So, until we can sort of, because I do think that there's this issue around this that revolves around return on investment, right? And I've probably raised more money as a business and done bigger deals than many people, and I know that I can bring substantial return. But it's not really that. It's really just this whole notion that we're too afraid to step out in that direction in major league sports where women are starting to play a small role but really aren't in the big role. And it ends up being a really strange circular argument because at this point, I think the way that we should be describing ROI is return on inclusion.
Love that. Yeah. ROI, return on inclusion.
Writing that down.
Yes, that's a tweetable moment. Well, for those, Twitter is undergoing some major transformation right now. So maybe not tweet, maybe TikTok. No, TikTok is also.
I just want to say, personally, I really hope the W Series can get their footing back. I mean, I think it's an important jumping off point for a lot of women. I'm very hopeful for that series, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Stefy, I'm going to turn the microphone to you, in that, Jackie just described some harsh realities of moving about as a business leader, and also kind of an influential, face of diversity and inclusion in non-traditional worlds. In esports, I would say the same thing that Jackie said. It doesn't matter who's behind the controller. It is all about the skill set, the reflex time, the executive decision making that happens on screen. How do you navigate your day to day when I'm sure you could write the same book of no's that Jackie and I can't? How do you navigate around this harsh reality that we face?
Well, first of all, for me, I've learned to maybe not ask the male counterpart because you get the no, and ask the women and you get the yes. So for more and more, now we get the opportunity to have more and more women into decision making position. So therefore, let's talk to them. We are all in with this to try to make a difference. So it's not about being the only one at the table, where you are the only woman there. It's about building a bigger table. So if we can get that together, so get more women to be part of that table, now we can create numbers, and with numbers we can have a little bit stronger voice. So for me, what I've been doing in esports is exactly that. Try to get associated and make collaboration with women-owned companies, or companies that have women in decision-making position, and in that way, the conversation become easier because we want the same thing. So then you don't just go for the no, because you're not asking the person that can tell you the no, right? You try to go for the person who can tell you yes. So for me, it's that, I learned, but even in racing too, we were talking about the W series, which I have yes and no, feeling about it. As Jackie was saying, nobody knows behind the wheel, if you're a woman or a man. So the need for a female only series, it's good for exposure, but it's not gonna have to be the lead, because otherwise that becomes the only place where women are gonna be put at. Where I feel like that we can have women in Formula One. But a lot of the argument is like, oh, we don't have a lot of women, compared to the men to compete in Formula One. So therefore, there are only 20 seats. We're going to give 20 seats to men. Well, I come from the gaming world now. I've been working in the gaming world. There are 2.3 billion people in the world that identify as gamer. Half of them are women. So if I can bring a percentage of this women gamer to become a consumer of the motorsport industry, boom, we have the numbers. So you see, it's all about looking at it in a different way and try to outsmart the system that is being put in there for so long by our male counterparts, that they are completely happy with how it works because it doesn't impact them. So I'm like, let's just go around it, and with the power of collaboration among women, we can do this.
That's right. I love what you said, Stefy, about it's about building a bigger dinner table, right? It's like what I also tell others is that I'm not taking a slice of your economic pie. We're trying to expand the economic pie for everybody, right? Because there is so it should be thought of as a world of abundance, not scarcity. And when it comes to investments and financial dollars and all of that, I do empathize with both of you, Jackie and Stefy, because even in the business conversations I'm having, of course, we all have to be protective about our own investment levels, either personally or corporately. But the world of abundance and the thought of like, how can we, as Regina likes to say, 1 + 1 = 11, right? Not so much the logical aspect of 1 + 1 = 2. So I'm going to pause and ask our other co-host here, Regina, any questions for us on your
Wow,
show?
this has been phenomenal. So yeah, and you ladies have been answering already my question that I was wanting to ask, but let's explore it just a little bit more. And that is how executive women manage to collaborate together and raise the water for everyone. How do, what are the ways we do that? Stefy, you just talked about some. Jackie, you've talked about some. Karen, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, it's providing a platform like this, Regina, sharing our story, sharing our experiences, giving each other exposure to new audiences that we can reach. It's talking very transparently about the challenges we face and even the dreams that we had as kids and young inspired minds, because because these are the things I know for me personally, it keeps me going, that fire that I remember feeling when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, asking for the chemistry set, for Christmas, asking for, a synthetic keyboard because I wanted to play with all the different acoustic technologies. That's what it starts with. And love the conversation here between Stefy and Jackie, in that I feel like I have had those conversations where talking to, male executives who say, oh, that's interesting. I've met a Filipino person, or I've met a female leader, and she also wants to inspire to grow up to be in the STEM field or to be in the sports industry. So can you mentor her? So when these, and I'm always happy to do it. So mentorship is to me is one of the critical things that we have to do as leaders of all types, but beyond mentorship, I think it's sponsorship. And I don't even just mean financial sponsorship. I mean, bringing people, opening doors for people, and bringing them to board meetings to say, check out her story or his story or their story, because there's something here that we can really tap into, that's a win-win for both, for both initiatives. So that's what I'm trying to do. Get more exposure, bring some visibility, shine a light.
Right. And we talked about Stefy and Jackie both being able to write that book, No. How do we get past the no? How do we get the males on board with the female leadership, with the female driver, with the female sports player? How do we get them on board? What things can we do collaboratively to include them in this movement, if that makes sense?
I want to hear Jackie's answer first, and then Stefy, and then me. Put you on the spot, Jackie.
Well, I think, look, I mean, it's just it's culture, it's where it is. And, I mean, one of the things that I think is so important is just perseverance. I really believe that fundamentally that, men are on board. I think it's really about investment. And it's not just, listen, investment confidence in women is not just in sports. This is across the board corporately.
Right.
So it's really about keeping your head down and continuing to prove and win and do the things, if you think about this, really, the goalpost for women is constantly being moved. So if I succeed and I sign the biggest pulp fiber deal in the world, it's still not enough confidence to translate over to something, else. I'm going to lead the biggest team in racing and in IndyCar, right? And I'm going to start bringing women in. I'm going to make sure they're paid equally. But at the end of the day, it's really just, being that person that continues to drive forward. Really positive. I mean, I'm not knocking any male CEO. They have a lot of decisions to make. I had, and I still have a lot of decisions to make. But what I'm trying to get people to see, and if they don't want to partner with me, I understand. That doesn't change my high opinion of somebody. But what I'm trying to do is keep getting to a place where I'm doing something that makes people's perception change. And why I kind of get back to perseverance. This is a complicated cultural issue in terms of confidence and investing in women leaders. And so, and Stefy, you brought it up, and I agree that, bringing women to the table, it's something I've done a lot, but I want to say that, again, the big dollars are at big companies. If you look at Fortune 500, you have very few women who are in positions that can actually say, I'm going to do this. They are there. There's no question about it. But they're few and far between. And then if you drop down to the CMO level, the chief marketing officer level, I think now we're at somewhere between 40% of women are CMO positions. But again, they're driven by people above them. And it's honestly frightening for them to make a decision to support a woman when they feel jeopardized by doing that, frankly, because that's not the culture they're living in. And so I'm just a huge believer in perseverance and not giving up. I mean, it's who else is going to carry this baton and become an owner and win races and show the world it's possible and that I can bring a great return to my investors. If I don't do that, if I give up, because as you said, Regina, how do we get people to overcome this? We have to keep doing what we're doing to help them see that we can do this, that we're reliable, that we are the same as them, that we're not, you could say this about men or women.
Yeah.
You just have to be responsible and not give up.
Right. So is just to a follow-up question there, is the risk in hiring that woman for that position, the risk is to their career if she is not successful?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And
what I thought you were saying, but I wanted to just clarify that.
I mean, I have a pretty good example. I was sponsored by a very large company, and we came in 5th in the series. We did a fantastic job. We visited all their places and signed all kinds of things and did wonderful things with this group. But the contract wasn't extended, which is fine. That's okay. Not personal. But also it just so happens that the person with that title of CMO also had to depart. So it just, I think there is this sort of, because honestly, you're going out on a limb, right? Because if you look at sports, if you I'm thinking team ownership because that's kind of what I'm doing. But if you look at team ownership, there's so much comfort in, and there's a lot of track record. So you can't take away from the men all their wins and all their experience for sure. And so there's just this super big comfort level of investing in those groups. And I get that. But somewhere along the line is going to come someone who can also go out and do this with the business experience and the winning experience, the team ownership experience. And so my job right now is to get companies to gain comfort in that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very good.
But that was a long answer to your question, Regina.
Good one.
That's a good answer.
Really good answer. I'd like to hear Stefy on how she manages to get past the no, which is Regina's original question.
Yes, I think it's about authenticity. You need to be authentic to who you are, right?
Mhm.
And I live in a reality. I would say when I was a racer and now as a business owner, where I mean, this is me. This is what I want to do. If you are not aligned with my way of thinking, then you're not the person, the brand, or the company that is good for me. So we cannot lead by fear. We cannot. Like as women, if we lead by fear because some people might be scared of losing a position, then you're just playing to the game. So that's why I think even in sports, in soccer now, why we are seeing all of these differences, because they are women getting together. So women as a group getting together, they're like, no, we're not going to take that no, like we're going to do it, because this is our authentic self. So I think representation matter. So what we need to do as a whole, women in every kind of industry, they have to go out and talk to the little girls and say, hey, I'm doing this, so you can do it too. And that if we do that, we transform that, especially at the teenage year, then we're going to get this individual growing, not having the fear to say, oh my God, I can lose my position if I say something. That has to stop, and because if you are fearful of that, that means that you're not in the right position, period. You know what I mean?
True.
So don't be fearful, and challenge the stereotype, challenge the system, because if we continue to do as it's been done, nothing's going to change. So we just have to get together, push hard, push that door wide open, even if there is a little bit of a crack. And I think that if we all have arms in arms together, women, then we become an army, and it's all about the numbers, right? So if we can continue to support each other, we are like, hey, now I'm not the only person that is at that table say, oh my God, if I say something wrong, I might lose the position. That there is at least like other 1,000 women behind you, that they are there not to take your position, but they are there to support you.
Yes.
So if we'll do that message, then we'll see things changing. And that's what we are trying to do, in esports, and also like in racing too. I think it's a lot about that.
Awesome. One thing that you said there that I'd like to pick up on for just a moment, and that is that business of cooperation instead of competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as women in the workplace, that has been a struggle for us, that we've had much more competition amongst one another than support of one another. And we have to work on that. We have to be more supportive of one another.
Can I just chime in for one quick second? I don't know if you saw this, but a study just got published that only 28% of women network compared to men. Mm-hmm. And men pull each other on their success skis, if you will, and a lot of that is why they're able to get funding or do the things they do. They're able to have these sit downs or these dinners, and I just gave a keynote, and that's something I'm encouraging women to really think about. This is hugely important to us. Stefy's saying it loud and clear. We have to join together.
Yes.
To make meaningful impact and not live in fear or even have others coming up behind you. You can't be what you can't see. Let's be what these girls can be. Let them see us be that. That's what we want, right? So
yes, support those 6-year-old girl dreams. Absolutely.
Yes. I think, Regina, this is a good summary and wrap-up point. Do you think?
Yes.
Because I just want to say my final thoughts in that as you have seen and heard on your show today, we've invited great, brilliant minds and brilliant business owners in Jackie and Stefy here. And to me, what they embody is they demonstrate every day their competitive greatness, right? This is a term that Coach John Wooden from my alma mater, UCLA, has coined, competitive greatness, which is defined as, performing when your best is most needed. And they've shown that because they both podiumed in their racing careers, and they've both run successful businesses in the past and then in today's world. In addition to competitive greatness, which again they've demonstrated, it's about this cooperative goodness. I'll use that word, the cooperation piece, Regina, that you said, and the goodness in that this is what is good for the future of society, the future of our humankind, right? And which is, I'm all about that, diversity, inclusion, equity. So I want to personally thank Regina, Jackie, Stefy for joining the conversation today. Regina, I'll leave you with the final thoughts, final word.
Awesome. So yes, it has been a pleasure, ladies, to get to know you today a bit. And I am really impressed with the work that you're doing in the world and the difference that you're making, and would love to, continue the relationship and be a part of, whatever good we can bring in this arena. On that note, I will just share with you that one of my affiliates, female partners, whatever, she's been a client. Now we work together and do things together out of Canada. We have put together a program that is called Superpowered Connectors, and it's for both men and women. And we are having our first social event for it this afternoon at 3:00. And I'd love to invite you to be a part of that. We're going to have some more social events, and then there may be some other things coming down the road for higher levels of opportunity to really connect with one another, have that accountability, have those, just really those amazing connections. It is open to men and women, which is also part of how we address what we were talking about. We have to include them so that they see what the issues are from our side as well, right? If they're only ever seeing the one side of it, then how do we get them where we need them to be? So just like to put that out there. Happy to send you an invitation to that. Yeah, this is wonderful. Let's go around and give your contact information, how folks can get in touch with you. Jackie, shall we start with you?
Sure. How about email? That's probably the easiest, which
Awesome.
is Jackie@heinricherracing.com. Heinricher, HEINRICHER, and racing.com.
Jackie, I-E.
JACKIE.
I'm typing it at heinricherracing.com.
Yeah.
Put a banner up there for the moment. Folks can copy that down.
Oh, HEIN.
Oh, I did misspell it, folks. I did indeed. Let me do it again. Okay. And so we'll pop that up there again. Hopefully I got it right this time.
Perfect.
Awesome. So jot that down, folks, while we hear from Stefy on how folks can get in touch with her.
Yes, so first of all, I want to just do one quick thing and say a takeaway for everybody that is listening, especially for young women. Don't be afraid to go out and reach out to other women. Don't be afraid, just do it, because more often than not, that woman will be, okay, hi, nice to meet you. What are you doing?
Yes.
And this is how we continue to grow. So don't be afraid. Go out and do it. I did it with Jackie, like a week ago after Karen, invited me to this.
Awesome.
So just do it, because you never know until you meet somebody that see maybe, can help you, or, like the other way
Right.
around. So that's my biggest
Excellent.
takeaway. And for me, well, personally, you find me on any social media, including LinkedIn, with my first name and last name, which is Stefy Bao. And for my company, the company is Init Esports.gg. GG is for the gaming world. And Init, like one of the things why I choose this word company is because
Let
I
me know if
wanted
I
to
got
make,
that right.
that's correct. I
Okay.
wanted to make the tagline "Be in it," because it's the
I like that.
essence, what we are trying
Yes.
to do. So
Yes.
be in it. Visit our website, and it's all about digital racing. And we're gonna have a very good, big announcement coming out soon, and for women,
Awesome.
by women. So it's gonna be cool. And yep.
Fantastic. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you both for being here. Karen, how can folks get in touch with you?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. No need, Regina, to type this in. Just
Okay.
look for Karen Mendoza. I'm sure Regina will put our names and hopefully in the show notes.
Yep.
But find me on LinkedIn. Look me up at D-Box. I also worked at Nintendo, so I have Nintendo in my LinkedIn profile and love to always talk about Nintendo. I will be a forever fan of Nintendo. And so that's it. Find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Mendoza.
On LinkedIn. Fantastic. Thank you, ladies. This has been a joy to be with you this morning and to hear your wisdom. Thank you, Karen, for being the guest co-host and for inviting such wonderful participants, panelists for us today. This has been awesome. I look forward to continuing the relationship. Going back to what you said, Steffi, when you reach out to those people, also reach out on their social media and connect with them. Deepen that relationship every place that you can, to get to know them better, to open more doors, to collaborate, to do things together. So thank you. You ladies are making an amazing impact in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And
Bye.
we'll see you next time, folks, on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.